We're live. Oh. Good morning, good morning, everyone. We're here on Facebook Live, and I'm here with Forlani, who's the ambassadress to the International Union Against Tuberculosis and Lung Disease, and Raazya Mumtaz, who's actually a TB survivor, and so we're going to hear her story. So just to give a few facts about tuberculosis first, I mean, this is the world's biggest infectious disease killer. Yeah. And we also have to remember that 1/4 of the entire world's population is infected with tuberculosis. Yeah. And finally, we are here in India, which has 1/4 of all of the world's people with tuberculosis. And so it's very important that we're here today to talk about TB. Now, Claire, you were here yesterday with us. You attended a survivor summit. Mm-hmm. Then you went on a field trip to the slums of Hyderabad. Mm-hmm. So just give us your impressions of what you saw and heard and
yeah. Well, I learned so much because I'm basically the general public, you know, coming in, because obviously I did reading and because I've now become the ambassador, so I'm learning. But even yesterday, when I met Raazya and many other survivors at the beginning of the day, they, you know, that I didn't know that you could get TB 4 times. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that it could be a 10-year experience. I didn't know how resistant some of the drugs were. I also didn't know that a lot of the survivors yesterday said that in India specifically, and also in Africa with the 2 specific people who spoke, they said that they still didn't even understand their disease. Mm-hmm. They were treated and it wasn't explained to them what they were taking, what the result, you know. And also one of the things that I, you know, later in the day, when I went to go see the other 2 people on the field trip, you know, the man said, and you mentioned this yesterday as well, the pain, that how painful the treatment is, and that there's an entire psychological side to it, which also needs to be supported. So, because in India, there's a stigma attached to this, where they will not talk to within their communities. Right. They're afraid to tell people. They feel like they're outcasts. So you don't just go through this unbelievably painful treatment, you also can feel unbelievably isolated, you and even perhaps your family who has to support you. So, you know, this is a big issue. The stigma, especially in this country, the fact that on the base level, the survivors or the people that are getting this disease are afraid to even ask, are afraid to get treatment. They don't have people, you know, in America when AIDS happened, we had Magic Johnson come out, and he was this incredible athlete who changed the face of AIDS, you know, and gave people courage, like, look, you can survive, you can still be me, you can get treatment. And I'm with people like Raazya coming out and speaking and putting a face to it here, because, you know, we're almost 100 years on and this needs to be dealt with, because it's basically the silent disease at this point, and it's been neglected. And, you know, we need to, like cancer, like AIDS, we need to make some serious progress, which we're making, and there are incredible people involved. But I do feel, just from the perspective, one of the perspectives I'm looking at is, can we humanize this for people who are getting TB? Can we show people that there are athletes, cricketers, actors, politicians, people that survive it, and take this onus off it that there is? That was sort of what I took away, and also the bravery. I mean, just the bravery of you all, the bravery of this guy yesterday. You know, he said that, I mean, just one last thing I will say about yesterday is that there was this group of women in the community that they'd gone to, and they had gone to them 4 times to ask them, to the social workers had gone to say, you know, can you help us take the stigma off this in your community? Can you help educate people within your community, within your slums, about the signs of tuberculosis, that there are cures? Can we get checks? Can we do something preventative? And of course, this you know, the union here this weekend, this week we're talking about the preventative measures, and with children, right? Because you've got it as a child, right, in school. And so they went to these women, and there were these incredible women who finally agreed, and they were going around, and they have this entire system that they're doing, and it affected the other survivor, who was this young guy. They diagnosed it for him. Women within the community diagnosed it. They supported the wife, the sister. They helped him. He said that emotionally, you know, I said to him at one point, and I didn't know if you felt this, but he said at one point that he, you know, he wanted to give up. It was too hard, and that the community got him through. They gave him faith, and that was a huge part of it.
Well, that's a perfect segue into Raazya's story. I mean, you are a survivor. Claire saw from the outside what it's like, but you actually suffered from this disease.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about your story.
It was started on 2007. I was in class 11, 12. This whole thing started. I was actually in a boarding school, so it might get transferred from some child. I didn't know that. Since my sister was a medical student, she knew that okay, this was the symptoms and side effects. But still, the diagnosis was not there at that time. It was not that strong that it would have been detected at the early stage. It would have been detected if it wouldn't been MDR at that time. But
so, I mean, just to say, MDR for the audience who doesn't know is multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. It means that the usual drugs don't work.
Yeah, it's resistant to many medicines, and only we take MDR medicines. It would have been very easy if it would have been diagnosed early. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone to the streptomycin injection, which is very painful. It's a second-line drug.
So just to say that if you had what we call the regular tuberculosis, then you would have taken medicines for 6 months.
Yeah, it would
but
have been
you
6
had to
months.
take medicines for how long?
It would have been actually my case is more extended. The medicines was not working to me. Only the injection part was working, and it was very painful for me taking injections since I was not that healthy. So we need muscles for that. For taking injections.
And you're a slender woman.
I'm still a slim woman, but still healthy. So, but still, it was a little painful. So misdiagnosis was a main issue at that time, and it would have been solved at that period only. And another thing is immunity. One should have a very strong immunity just to prevent oneself from getting into TB.
You were talking about eating, taking care of yourself, food, and all that stuff.
Because we usually get into another things like not eating, and in hostel we are usually skipping food. So it's a very important for taking nutritional diet. Right. Nutrition is a very main factor for it.
You know, one of the things that you're talking to us about what happened to you during the treatment, but you're a survivor. This is an important word, TB survivor.
Yes.
And so what's been the experience for you after the treatment?
Yeah, when the treatment got over, actually in Bihar, where I'm staying right now, we had a mentorship program for 3 days. In that, they taught us how to train other people, how to help them, how to help them family, so that we can work for them, because we know how we have been through. So we could share our stories and experiences. So we can work in the ground level actually, not on the higher level, just speaking out and all.
In your community.
Yeah, in our community. In every district there is people out there.
Do you feel there's resistance in your community to hear?
Yeah.
Because there's fear around
people
it?
People don't speak up.
Is it because it's airborne that they're so afraid?
It's a stigma actually. It's the main problem is stigma. People don't speak up about the... Yeah.
So by you being a survivor, it's a much more powerful way to communicate than somebody who's not.
Yeah, initially
so we have two ambassadors here. We have the ambassador for the union, but we have the ambassadors for people who have actually suffered from tuberculosis.
Yeah, I'm speaking from every point of view from them actually. I'm not just individual. I'm talking in front of like every thousands of millions of people in India actually. They have gone through the same issue. Right. It's not my problem only. It's their problem also. So the mentorship program went through in Bihar. It's a reach through program. So we have gone through mentorship, and we are right now, we have created a group TMV, TB Mukt Bahini.
So good.
Yeah, and every member is a TB survivor out there. They are working in different districts of Bihar for the people.
Because you can feel the urgency now.
There is actually follow-up cases is not there. So we are finding TB cases, and we are helping them to get the medicines, to accessibility of every help, nutrition to medicines to everything actually. we are trying to help them.
You know, one important announcement, excuse me, yesterday was the possibility of a new vaccine.
Yeah.
And you know, and Clara just mentioned, she mentioned the word 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is key, because the last vaccine that we've had is almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fact that we have a vaccine now that can actually prevent people who have the infection, it's lying sleeping in their bodies, to prevent them from coming down with active disease is key, is just mind-blowing, in the sense that we can prevent so many more people with tuberculosis.
And also they've got to diagnose, they've got to go into the families. That one of the things that they were saying yesterday, you said yesterday, other people said yesterday, is that if somebody has it within a group, within a household, within, you've got to go in and test everybody else and take the
Exactly.
preventative measure. And that's why you, on the grassroots level, going within your community is such a powerful, you know, voice, and such an important one at this point, because all elements have to be attacked.
Exactly.
We don't have time. You know, if it's this level of killer, if we're going to care about the environment, we've got to care about this. It's all part of it. You know.
I think it was very powerful yesterday when you went to the house with the gentleman. You saw the close quarters that he was living in. There were 3 children there.
And 3 little
It's
children,
three little
exactly,
children,
who had to go
brother-in-law.
through his disease with him.
And
But
also,
they all said they were tested.
And yes, they were
Oh,
tested,
that was
and that was very good,
Yeah.
because we know
Yeah.
that a lot of times what happens here in many countries is that those people don't get tested.
Yeah, even
So they're at
in
risk for
India,
actually,
most of the
yes.
places don't get tested.
So we were very, I was
Either-
very happy to hear that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is very good news actually.
But they're an
Different people.
educated community,
Exactly.
Oh,
which was great. So by
Okay.
you going around, you're creating more and more communities that are educated. Do you, I would love to know, your government,
Yeah.
your Prime Minister has now said that he is going to end this by 2025.
Hopefully we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And has that helped you within your community, the fact that the head of your country has come out to say, I support this, we're actively working with this, has it added?
Yeah, it's
To the
added, actually more actors and actresses and sportswomen are coming up now.
Because it's
Yeah,
been
they're
publicly
speaking up.
acknowledged. That's so
Yeah,
good.
that is going out and people are now speaking out, okay, we had TV.
Right.
Yeah, initially they don't used to come up with the thing that we had TV.
Yeah.
They
So
were,
one of your biggest stars, Amitabh Bachchan here.
yeah,
He
Mr.
had
Amitabh
tuberculosis,
Bachchan.
and he
He is
and he is
ambassador of
actually an
TB, yeah.
ambassador for
Yeah,
tuberculosis.
for tuberculosis.
Yeah.
They are speaking up, and by looking up to them, actually people are speaking up.
Yes.
Even if they can, then why
Yes,
not
putting
we?
a face,
Yeah.
putting a face, saying I
That is
survived.
what-
I'm
yeah.
your face, their face. It all takes the stigma away to make people less afraid.
Initially it was like TB can't be curable. Still people have this in mind.
Mm.
But yeah, now people are thinking, okay, if we take a proper medicines, then obviously it will be cured.
Right. Right.
That is what people is helping up
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
That is the main thing we are doing up there
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
We are
So
helping people.
Claire, you're going to be giving a talk at the opening ceremony, so tell us what you're going to talk about.
Well, we really, like I said, we're kind of what people have helped me learn, and what this conference was sort of mostly focusing on is the prevention, which obviously is also the children. You know, you got it at such a young age, and so I'm sort of focusing more on the prevention, the stigma attached, the prevention, and the fact that, you know, let's get tested. We've got to get tested, and the fact that, you know, there is now these new tools to
Techniques
do
and
it, and you know, the survivor element of it. So it's really just trying to communicate in a way that makes it more acceptable, you
Right.
know, and also to thank your government, because without them in this country,
Yeah,
if we, you know, what they've now established and what's now a fact is that unless India beats this, then the world can't beat this. So it's so
Exactly.
important that
That
we
is-
are
that
here
is key.
in your country, you're speaking, Paula's here with all her wealth of information, the face of TB in the union. Yeah.
So I think what's going to be, and just to highlight that, there's going to be a lot of science. This is the time for tuberculosis where all of a sudden the science is coming into play. So right now we're having a conference on TB science, the basic science, that'll kind of inform us for the future. And so we're going to hear more about that during this conference, and it's going to be really exciting. But the thing is that the face of tuberculosis, the face of an ambassador, 2 ambassadors that we have now, is so key, because if we don't have community involved, if we don't have media involved, if we don't have the public involved, then we're never going to get to the end of tuberculosis, in addition to the tools that we also need.
I also like to address the fact that there's a psychological side, you know, that there also needs to be, like with cancer patients and also with those, there's support psychologically, you know, there's a mental
Yeah.
health element here.
Family support actually.
Yeah, but family, but also,
And
you
society.
know,
Community
people who
support.
Community, yeah.
yeah.
Community very important. Supported.
Yeah, because also there's the people, you know, yesterday, the male survivor that I met on the field trip, his brother's sister was who took care of him in the hospital. She brought him food. She had 2 small children. The load that she took on, the support she needs as to help the survivor, it's all, you know, there's all these elements that need to also be looked at, which is why the community education becomes so important.
Community awareness and advocacy is very important to remove this. TB is not a small thing, but yeah, it's epidemic right now. We have to go through awareness and advocacy. I think it's a very important right now for us to do that.
Yeah.
So during this conference, both of you will be shouting loud and proud about, you know, how we can help the epidemic of tuberculosis in this world.
I think for putting in front people like us who are the survivor will be the best options.
Yes.
Not just sharing of stories, but just helping out in the ground floor, just going out and helping them the need they require. I think that is the main thing we need right now for them only. That is the main requirement of the time.
Yeah. So I want to thank both of you for joining us at our conference and for helping in the fight against tuberculosis. And so also enjoy the conference too.
Thank you so much.
And thanks, Paul.